Molo Sanbonani, hello, how's it? Good day. Welcome to the Vuka Nazo Show. My name is Sihle Ngobese, aka Big Daddy Liberty. Remember, whether you're watching this simulcast on Facebook or YouTube, do me a favor, hit that like button right now. If it is on YouTube, then we'll subscribe to the show and hit that bell notification. Help me reach my goal of 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Guys, remember, we have a website. Find us, and you can also support us financially there by going to BigDaddyLiberty.com. Now, with that being said, enough of the jibber jabber. Let's get straight into the news. We are a step closer to the disaster that is the National Health Insurance. This, of course, is a policy that seeks to create the ESKOM of healthcare, one provider of healthcare. Basically, politicians taking control of your private healthcare, whether it's a medical aid or health insurance, whatever, taking that money, confiscating it from you in order to put it into one fund that they, as politicians, control. That is what the National Health Insurance is. It's politicians basically deciding that you should never have the freedom to choose where you get healthcare. All healthcare provision in this country currently, whether it's your local doctor to a private hospital, will be controlled by the state via this National Health Insurance Fund. That is effectively what we're now one step closer to seeing as a policy in this country. This is what politicians are trying to do to your healthcare, to the healthcare of your children. What am I referring to here? Why am I saying we're one step closer to this? Well, I take you to Parliament, where the Portfolio Committee on Health, that's the committee that decides what happens in the healthcare space within government, is going ahead with the National Health Insurance bill. That's the proposed law, despite pushback and actual growing concern over the provisions within this act, including those provisions which I mentioned, of course, which is effectively government and politicians trying to create an effective ESKOM of healthcare. Now, let me remind you, in a sense, as to what this NHI, this is what the politicians will tell you, the NHI, or the National Health Insurance, is trying to achieve. It, in their view, is meant to look like this. Now, of course, reading from this business tech piece, it says the bill seeks to achieve this particular universal healthcare by ensuring that, quote, no one is deprived of the right to healthcare because of their socioeconomic status. Secondly, that one public healthcare fund is created with adequate resources to plan for and effectively meet the health needs of the entire population and not just for a selected few. And of course, they also claim that the ultimate goal is to achieve, quote, universal health coverage. This, they say, will be funded through general taxes and contributions from people earning above a set amount. The NHI fund will pool money for both private and public healthcare providers, ultimately making it no longer a requirement for South Africans to contribute directly to a medical health scheme. End of quote. Again, this is the nonsense that we often experience as South Africans, and it's the same nonsense that if you are a fan of the show, I warn you against, which is stop listening to politicians. Hashtag don't be dribbled by politicians, because at the end of the day, a politician wants to be judged by his intentions and not by his outcomes. It's the same thing, for example, with anything else that this ANC government touches. It'll demand of you, especially black South Africans. It'll say, because you're black, we demand that you judge us by our intentions and not by the poor, often dismal outcomes. The National Health Insurance will be no different. Why do you suddenly think that the same ANC, which cannot keep the lights on, the same ANC which cannot provide clean drinking water to many people, some of whom are sick with cholera right now, the same ANC that can't even maintain our roads or rail or even an airline or anything else that it touches, that same ANC is now going to somehow run your healthcare in an efficient manner, give you world-class healthcare, which is somehow better than the private healthcare system. The same government which right now, the same politicians which right now are failing us and have collapsed healthcare provision in this country. Indeed, they're even putting babies, newborn babies, in cardboard boxes in hospitals, as has happened in parts of this country. That government is going to run a somehow efficient NHI? Ha! You're dreaming. If you believe that, Well, then I have a 250 million rand home in Nkandla to sell you. Hey. Guys, I want to stress this, and I want to show you just how much danger you're in here. This bill, this proposed legislation, the National Health Insurance, is effectively politicians saying they should control what decisions you make at the moment freely. They're taking away your freedom to choose. The very same politicians who I always tell you are hashtag politicians are trash, those same politicians are saying to you that you have no right to make a decision about your healthcare and the healthcare of your family. Again, there is opposition to this bill from the private sector, ordinary people like me and hopefully you, and of course civil society organizations. And it's not all doom and gloom. It's not a lost cause yet. You can do something to fight back against this. I'll get to that in a moment, but I want to show you some of the warnings that have been given to politicians to not do this. Going back to the business tech piece, points out that private institutions like medical aid schemes have been opposed by and large to this bill, but also Parliament's legal services actually warned the politicians against trying to pass this bill. It doesn't meet constitutional muster. This is what the business tech piece said. Now, the Parliamentary Legal Services has noted that there are a host of potential constitutional traps in the current composition of the bill, including a lack of clarity and the attribution of incorrect power to certain ministers. According to the PLS, that's the Parliamentary Legal Services, the NHI will significantly change the function of medical schemes. It said that certain arguments in the bill submission claim that the NHI's requirement of determining where individuals can receive medical care and what treatment they can receive infringes upon people's right to access healthcare and their freedom to associate. End of quote. And that is the exact crux of the issue. This bill is anti-freedom, it's anti-you, it is anti-us as people, as citizens of this country. What it is pro-politicians, pro-government power, pro-bullying by politicians who believe they should have all the resources and to control all aspects of society. We must reject this bill in its entirety. Hashtag stop NHI. This bill is absolutely terrible. It is the ESKOM of healthcare. And if you really care about giving poor people, more people, access to quality healthcare, which right now is mostly within the private sector and enjoyed by those who can afford medical aid, if you want to give the poor the same quality, the same high quality, then instead of looking to government, rather look to people. What do I mean? How about you break down the Department of Health's budget, break it down into vouchers and give it to poor people for them to buy their own medical aid, and allow the private sector, therefore, to run healthcare in this country, to which poor people would then have access to. That is a solution which is much more preferable than giving politicians and government complete control to mess up effectively our healthcare system in this country. I've said this once and I'll say it again, you can fight back. I have friends over at the Institute of Race Relations who've launched a Stop NHI campaign. You can have your voice heard. Go to their website. I'll have the details across the screen there. Just visit irr.org.za/campaigns/Stop NHI. And let's actually band together as South Africans, fight back against this, push good ideas. Let's fight for those health vouchers instead. And let's both say, Stop NHI. All right, that's it for this episode of Vuka Nazo. Please, hey, let me know what you think about this particular matter. Leave a comment, whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube. The most important thing you can do is to, yes, hit that like button, but more importantly, share the stream. Please share it widely. With that being said, if you're looking to support the work that we're doing here, and it's the advocacy work in particular, then please consider contributing to the show. How do you do that? Find a payment method that suits you at our website. That's at bigdaddyliberty.com. Now, if you like any of the stories that we covered here, the links are in the descriptor. With that being said, thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next episode of the Vuka Nazo Show.